Welcome back, Caddy Corner, episode 68. I'm Austin.
And I'm Caleb.
And we are back again.
Yes, we are.
Back to school series, part 2, year 2, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did this last year, and like some of those shows now are like some of our most viewed shows that we've ever done. And most of you guys that are listening are students in some kind of way, just because of the age demo that we kind of shoot for. So, I don't know how long we're going to do this for, back to school series. Probably between like 4 and 6 weeks-ish. Just kind of doing the normal back to school stuff, giving you guys some advice and also some guests, because we have access to that kind of stuff for this kind of series. We have this on lock. We're really good at the back to school series. So stay tuned.
Oh, yeah.
And just listen to all of them, because knowledge bombs. This week's episode is preparing for back to school. Caleb and I just brought some points that are kind of like, I don't know, help you have the best school year that you can, while you still have some time to kind of set yourself up. These are how to set up for those. So if you're interested in that, stick around for the next, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and you'll learn about it. Also, while you're at it, make sure to rate and review the show. Share the show to your family and friends, and the entire back to school series will be really good to share to students. So if you have any other school friends, or if you're a parent and you've got kids that are going to school or whatever your situation is, just make them listen to the podcast, just sit them down and force them. That's a good strategy usually.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yep. And yeah, I think that's it. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, share the show around, like I said already. All right, Caleb, take it away.
All right. So, back to school. It's crazy that we're that close.
Yeah, it is. It really is crazy that we're that close. It still, to me, feels like we just got out.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely does to me as well. But yeah, back to school time can be a very stressful and unsure time for many people. And so I guess we're just going to try and bring you this whole series to help knock some of that scariness off, so you can be the most prepared for the school year that you can possibly be.
100%.
Because it's all we're here to do. We're just trying to make you better. And so without further ado,
boom,
jump right in. My first point is what I always like to do during the summer, and that is self-reflection. I always like to, during the summertime, reflect on how the last semester went and how the last school year went and all that stuff, because I feel like that's how I learn what changes to make. I can't just make a change just out of the blue.
Sure. For like no reason.
Yeah, for no reason, just because I want to try something out or whatever. I always have to realize that there's a problem there to be able to fix it, because I'm a firm believer on if it's not broke, don't fix it,
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. So that's the reason why I always like to self-reflect. I also think that that's just good for anybody to do. After you complete something, you should always reflect back on it and just see how it went, think about all the steps that went into it, and look at the whole big picture, because there's obviously going to be some things that could have went a little bit different, and so just reflecting back on that and then being aware enough to point out the issues in your life and in your schooling or whatever is also important, so that you can be sure to make the changes that you need to make so that you can be the most successful student.
I think it's the only way to figure out problems ever, is to just like reflect on what you did. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think that a big key with that though too is just to like be honest with like yourself. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe do it throughout the process, because some people can definitely have like an issue, I think, with like self-reflecting only on like the good stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that kind of, that's not counterproductive necessarily, but it's not like what you just described. Like, it doesn't help you the same way,
Right.
So just be careful of that, I guess. Like, if you're looking for like ways to improve yourself as a student or as whatever through like the process that you just kind of went through, you have to reflect on the negative interactions as well. So
Definitely.
that's a super good point. My first point, this is something that I always try and get like ahead of, because I hate it more than anything. And that says, what I have on my notes is taking care of the annoying stuff. So for college, at least, like every year you have to submit your insurance. You have to make sure that you accept your scholarships. You have to. I always like make sure that like my classes didn't get screwed up somehow. So taking care of that kind of stuff can just make your first week so much easier.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I've had that happen every single semester. I've like forgotten to turn, not every semester, but every year I've forgotten to submit something, or I did it late, or whatever. And it really isn't a big deal, but then it's just like you have a flood of emails, and then you have to ask a whole bunch of questions. And how do you get to this? You got to go talk to this guy, and then the other guy's on the other side of campus, and just a big mess. So you can just kind of get ahead of it by knowing. But I also, when I was a freshman in college, when I was going into college, and like my mom's a professor, she's been in school her whole life. I had no idea that I would have to submit my health insurance every year. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't think that I have to accept my scholarships every single year. You know what I mean? Like I did it. Yeah. You know what I mean? You know.
Right.
If you want to know, they know. But you have to do it anyway. So just make sure to do that, and it'll just make that first week so much smoother, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally agree with you there. That stuff is so annoying
it's
too.
It's the worst, dude. And every single time, like the websites for it suck.
Yeah.
It's not intuitive at all. I mean, shout out to everybody that's doing like the helping, like everybody that I'm emailing, asking them how to do stuff. Like I'm super thankful that they exist, but like there's like it's just hard to communicate how to do things via email. Email sucks. So yeah, it sucks so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. My next point here is organize your school supplies. So, for me, what I always do is I make a list of things that I think I might need, you know? So, some of the things on that list for me would be my computer, my iPad, notebooks, pencils, my books for class, all those things, you know? You just have to think about what you think you're going to use, you know, and then just make sure that you have that thing, you know. If you need a new lunchbox, go get a new lunchbox. If you need a refillable water bottle, go get one. If you need an iPad, just get one. You know, it's as simple as that. But also another thing that I want to talk about too, if you're in college, in high schools, most of the time now, you're doing a lot of work electronically and on your device. So making sure that all of your files there are organized as well is so important, because the worst thing is knowing that you did something, but then not being able to find it after you did it on your computer.
You will never, ever know what you named a file.
Yeah.
Ever.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something that you can do that literally doesn't take any time at all. You know what I mean? Doesn't take any time at all. And once you have like a formula for it, like for example, I save everything to my desktop. That way it's looking at me. Then I put it wherever it goes. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's the same kind of thought process as like if your stuff is out like on your desk, then you're more likely to like see it and either put it away or use it. That's the same kind of theory that I went there. Save it to the desktop, then you can put it wherever it goes. And so, yeah, 100%. And also, too, just as far as gear, like you named things that are important for students and stuff. But because we do so much work now as students, like online, it might be worth getting like digital storage. Like maybe you need like a drive or something like that. To be honest, I don't know if that would be something that students would need. I just have had them, you know, because we make videos.
Right.
So I don't know, to be honest, if I use that for school ever, other than but I also don't know. So maybe that's something that you would need. So like don't discredit that, you know, like flash drives, or I don't know if anybody actually uses like thumb drives or anything like that, but I don't. I mean,
yeah, I don't either.
So, but that might be something that's worth doing as well. I have the same thing. Get your gear in line. So yeah. Get good pens. That's my biggest piece of advice.
Dude, good pens are important.
I always get smears on my hands whenever they're bad pens. Always right here. So yeah, just get good pens. I like sticky notes. They don't go in my backpack. They sit on my desk, but I always try and keep those. And yeah. And also too, I think a good point whenever you're buying school supplies, it's super easy to go to Target and just buy everything. But if you think you're not going to use it, then you're not going to. There's no chance.
Yeah.
I don't use highlighters. I've never used highlighters in my life. So there's no reason for me to ever get highlighters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I really don't use physical books. I try and do all of it digitally, just because the backpack's a little lighter if you do it that way.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? So yeah, and I think that that's important too. And then also, I think that your backpack is super important. Like getting a backpack that fits all of your stuff. There's really no way to like tell how much space you're going to need or anything like that. For myself, like I'm a commuting college student, so everything that I have with me throughout the day either goes in my backpack or it's in my hands. And so my backpack, I would consider it like medium to large sized backpack. Not necessarily because I have a lot of stuff, but just because in the event that I like accumulate a bunch of things, I can still carry it around. So that's an important thing. I think people like kind of discredit that. Also true, if you get like a mid-range price-wise backpack, it like never dies. I've had the same North Face bag since senior year of high school, and I realized that wasn't that long ago, but it looks like it just came off of the rack still. So, yeah,
definitely. My next point here is building a positive mindset. I'll speak for myself. That's one thing that I usually don't have to worry about, because usually about right now during the summer, I'm about ready to go back to school.
Yeah, facts.
Just because I love routine. And I'm not saying that my summer routine is not a good routine, but it's just not the kind of routine that stimulates my brain, you know?
Yeah.
I like going to class and
learning things.
Yeah, and feeling like I got a lot done in a day, you know, and stuff like that. So I don't really have an issue building a positive mindset whenever it comes to coming back to school, but I know that some people do. The one piece of advice that I kind of have is just, well, I'll tell you what I did. And I don't know if this is good for all you mental health folks out there, but whenever I was not vibing with school and I hated going back to school, what I did was I just one time pretended that I liked school, and then I did it the next day, and then I did it the next day, and now I enjoy school. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I feel like that's some kind of psychology that works. Maybe you just have to trick yourself into thinking that you like school, because I feel like school's not that bad. You know, it's got a lot going for it. You get to go and you get to learn, and then eventually, after you get a piece of paper with your name on it, you get to go work a job. You know, 9 to 5.
Hopefully you like.
Yeah, you know? and so it's really not that bad if you think about it.
Yeah, 100%. I think too, like a lot of people have this. A lot of people hate school because I don't know why. To be honest, like I've never really been that person. Because like the way that I've always looked at it is like in high school you just kind of go and hang out with your friends for however long high school is, and then in college, like I just go to school for however long during the day, and I'm pretty much at this point studying things that I'm interested in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I also like made the decision to go to college, so like I knew what I signed up for. It's not like I went to college and like surprise lecture at 9:30 in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, there was no surprises there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I 100% think so too. I think that whenever you're going back to school, what you get out of a school year is completely up to you.
Oh yeah,
it's 100% up to you. However much you're willing to like try or experiment or put in the extra work or whatever, which really isn't that much, especially if you're in high school. It's really not that much extra work to like get a ton out of high school. It's completely up to you, and your mentality, I think, has everything to do with how much you're willing to put into it. So yeah. 100%. Just get your brain in line.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? And then I kind of have one that's similar, which is to start building your routine now or rebuilding your routine. And I feel the same way as you. I love going back to school because I love the structure of it. I love the routine of it. I love how every single Monday through Friday I have the same kind of situation going on.
Yeah.
And so I can super easily like build my routine around that. And honestly, this summer, I've had a really hard time. I had a really difficult time building a summer routine at all. You know, I think that being gone for most of the month of June was kind of not necessarily like helping that super, super well, but you know, it happens. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to going back to school, but and rebuilding my routine there. But also, you can kind of get ahead of it now. So just start implementing things that you want to be a part of your life during the school year, you know, today or like yesterday. You know what I mean? Right. And what you'll do is you'll try these new kind of habits out that you want to add to your routine. Whenever school starts, you'll have to readjust the time that you spend on them or when you do them or whatever. And then the ones that actually matter to you will stick, and then the ones that don't will kind of go away. And then there you go. So I think it's just super important to kind of get ahead of, because what you don't want to do is like go back to school and then try and rebuild your routine, and then it takes a month, and then you know, like you're kind of a month behind when you didn't need to be or whatever. And it also can like pull your focus in other places. Maybe you like have a difficult semester coming up, and so then you don't get to build the routine that you want because you're really struggling with like calculus or something like that. So you can just get ahead of it, start building your routine now, and set yourself up for success.
Yeah, definitely. My next and final point here is to set your goals that you want to accomplish throughout the semester. Setting goals is one of the best ways that I think you can actually achieve goals, because whenever you keep track of your progress, then it is just much easier to achieve those things. I believe that's how my brain works anyway. Whenever I have something that I want to do or I want to get good at or whatever, then you just set small goals for yourself, and then you have to keep track of those goals, and you have to have clear objectives so that at the end of the month or the week or whatever, then you know that you made some sort of progress. Because I think progress is what really fuels getting better.
100%. It's like crack.
Yeah.
It's like an addicting feeling. Yeah.
Exactly. And so that is so important. But you also have to make sure that your goals are realistic. So, if I'm going to come up with something that's way unrealistic, if you're a freshman in college and your goal is to graduate college in 2 years,
Let's go.
And you want a bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe that's probably an unrealistic goal.
Right.
And so just make sure that you set goals that are realistic. What I like to do is I like to set real small goals so that whenever I can achieve them and like check them off the to-do list or whatever, then I still get that satisfying feeling of getting stuff done, even if it's just the next step, in the process or whatever. I think that always helps me get to the goal faster, because, whenever you look at this big picture goal, then it looks real big and there's a lot of stepping stones to get there. But whenever you just look at the next step and that is the next goal on your list, then it just makes it so much easier, and you're not thinking about how much time has passed trying to get to this goal that you haven't reached yet, because this whole time you've been making your way towards it and you keep going on the railroad tracks, and then finally you're there and you're like, oh, wow, I also did all these things while I was getting here, that I didn't even think about because I was just going with the flow and getting stuff done,
100%. I think, too, a super good way to help you make those like little goals is to understand whatever the big goal is, too. Because it's super difficult to get motivated to do anything without any kind of goal. You know what I mean?
Right.
Without any kind of like ambition, I think that's where like 75, maybe like 80% of people struggle, is like they just don't have a macro goal. They don't have like a North Star, I guess.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, some people's North Stars or whatever, their like motivation is different. A lot of people that are in college, their goal is to graduate college, to graduate with their degree. And so like everything that you do throughout the day, week, month, year should help you progress to that, goal or whatever. And yeah, I mean, study for test, check. Goal 1, done.
Right.
Pass test, goal 2, check, done.
Yeah.
Graduate college. So exactly, it all kind of builds and compounds. My last point, which is something that I think is super important and can make your school year so easy, is to just organize the entire year as early as you can. I talked last year on the Back to School series about this website called Syllabuddy, where you can upload your I did the exact same thing last year. Syllabi is what it is, yeah. You can upload your syllabi, and it will export it as a calendar link, so you can upload it to your calendars, and it'll put all the dates in and all of the due dates and what the assignment is under all of them, and it's super nice. It just literally takes like 5 minutes and a couple of clicks, and you got what you need. So like as soon as your Canvas or your Blackboard or whatever goes live, just download your syllabi and do that. You know what I mean? If you have like doctor's appointments, like get your calendars set up. If you have whatever, if you're going to be gone for a week, like get your calendar set up so that way you know how to handle that kind of situation. And it's just super important because that'll make your life so much easier. It's just get your days in line, and do it before and try and get as much, figured out. Because at this point, and maybe not like as you're listening to this podcast, but probably by like first day of school, you probably know what you're doing for the rest of the year. August, 8 months of the year done, only 4 months left. You probably know what you're going to do for the next 4 months, in some kind of capacity.
Right.
So just I think calendar super important. That's something that's helped me at least like a ton through going through college. It's just like using my calendar and like knowing at least in some kind of capacity what's going on.
Right.
helps a ton, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Boom.
Good stuff.
Preparing for back to school. This is what we do.
I know.
This is what we do for sure. Caleb and I, professional students, we've done this pretty much our whole life. So now we're just here to spread the knowledge bombs. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to rate and review the show and like, comment, subscribe. Stick around because every single Friday for the next little bit is going to be the back to school series, where we come with some kind of information about back to school, or just school in general and how to do it the best you can. Because school's awesome in a lot of ways. It also sucks in a lot of ways, but you can really get a lot out of it if you try to. I think that's kind of always been my perspective. So if you're looking to get the most out of school, just listen to the show. We have the answers. Like I said, every single Friday we do this kind of show. It's much more informative, kind of knowledge-based, where Caleb and I come and we drop knowledge bombs on all of you guys. So if you're into that, every Friday, audio and video. We also do Caddy Corner after hours every single Wednesday, where we talk about whatever we want to talk about for as long as we want to talk about it. I'm Austin. He's Caleb, and we'll see you all next week. Peace.